Hello everybody, Crypto Chaperone here, and back at it with the night mode setting. I thought yesterday it felt pretty good, so I'm going to do it again today with my white shirt so I stand out a little bit better. And we're going to just take a look at the markets today, and we're going to talk about a little bit of news that's happened in the past 24 hours. I haven't been really diving too much into the news and stuff that's been going on. I've been reading through a couple of ICOs recently that I've wanted to do some reviews about. So one of those is actually going to be the Blue Zell ICO. So hopefully within the next 2 days, I'm going to be coming out with an ICO review for the Blue Zell ICO and potentially even the Nucleus ICO that is coming up. Those are both going to be coming up within the next month, and those are two ICOs that I have been watching for a decent amount of time. They both have had whitelisting opportunities recently, and I think the Nucleus whitelist opened and closed within like 48 hours. It was supposed to be open for about 2 weeks, but it had a very high demand. So the whitelist closed a lot earlier than they expected it to, and a lot of investors even expected it to. So a lot of people that were trying to get into that did not have the opportunity to. And I'm going to kind of go through and talk about why I think those are good, but that's kind of in the future. Today I'm just going to talk about the markets, kind of what's been happening in the last 24 hours. I'm sure you noticed your portfolio definitely going up yesterday and probably going back down today. Just a lot has been going on in the market. So if we look at our market cap, we're sitting at about $554 billion. Now yesterday, or within the last 24 hours more or less, our market cap went up to over $600 billion. And then it dropped down a little bit. And then as soon as it hit $600 billion again, within an hour after it hit it for the second time, we had about a $50 billion pull out of the market within an hour. So it was definitely some sort of a coordinated effort. I think it was potentially because of the double peak hitting the market cap over 600 billion. Maybe that was just what someone had something said at. And also yesterday we had some news break of potential ICO regulations that are going to be coming out of South Korea. Now, it doesn't really necessarily mean that they're going to be banning ICOs and everything like what we have with China, and they're not going to be letting people participate. This more or less means that they are going to be implementing KYC processes and things like that within the exchanges and stuff in Korea. Now, as I talked about yesterday in my video, there's a lot of arbitrage situations that go on in cryptocurrency depending on where you're trading at. If you trade on a Korean exchange, recently more or less, a lot of times they're higher, but recently they've been exponentially higher. I mean, like 20 and 30% higher you've been paying as a tax on some of these cryptocurrencies if you've been trading them on a Korean exchange versus if you've been trading them on any other exchange, more or less, like Poloniex, Bittrex, anything like that, Bitfinex. So what a lot of people are doing is taking this opportunity to take arbitrage, and essentially what that is when you go and you buy the really cheap one, you take it to a more expensive place and you sell it and you take the profits, and you continuously do this. Now, a lot of the exchanges over in South Korea, they don't really have the know your client process, the KYC, know your customer thing on their exchanges. And a lot of them you can just sign up. You don't have to put any special information in. You sign up, you give them your email, they'll send you a verification email, and you're in. That's all you have to do. And potentially what you have going on in this situation is you have a lot of money laundering and a lot of undocumented money, more or less, going in and out of the cryptocurrency world. And South Korea, more or less, they're going to start to regulate this so they can tax it in the long term. And they want to cut back on people doing these arbitrage situations as well. So as this starts to get implemented in more and more exchanges that North Korea has access to, and that the prices are a lot higher, I'm sure we're going to either see the prices start to close a lot, or we're going to start to see their prices go up even more, and our prices are going to start to follow suit. So a lot could be happening in cryptocurrencies due to the prices in the next week or two, especially with this upcoming year. As you've seen from right now, our highest all-time high was $100 billion from where we are right now. Our all-time high was about $654 billion. So we had $100 billion pulled out from our all-time high, and the reasons are potentially in my opinion, what I've been talking about for a while is that, it's the last quarter of the year. A lot of companies, a lot of venture capitalist companies, all those things are going to be pulling out profit. Any individual investors, brokers, things like that who have started to dabble in cryptocurrencies or were doing it throughout the year, maybe just in the last month when you had the Bitcoin futures news that kind of got released, and you had a lot of institutional money come into cryptocurrencies. You're going to see a lot of those people start to take out their money the last quarter of the year. But what's going to happen in the very first quarter of the year, within probably the first 2 weeks of the year, is you're going to see a flood of money start to come back in, because these companies, they don't really need to make their books look good anymore. At the last quarter of the years, when you're trying to really write off all your expenses on your books and kind of even everything out and break even, and the first quarter of the year, you're starting a whole new year, more or less. So a lot of companies are going to actually start to dive into cryptocurrencies. If they haven't, a lot of them have potentially been sitting on the side. A lot of institutional funds have been sitting on the side watching, and they're just waiting for their opportunity. And maybe now these red markets are just, natural forces pushing it down, waiting for institutional money to come in. Maybe they are somehow forcing it down. As they're pulling their money out, naturally, a lot of people are going to fear that something is going on, so they're going to pull their money out, and eventually the prices are going to go down, and then they're going to rocket back upward, I think, within the first 2 weeks of 2018. And something else that I've been talking about as well is you have tax season coming up, and you are able to start filing for your tax reports or whatever you need now, and you're going to have people that are potentially getting their tax refunds within the next couple of weeks. So you're going to have massive amounts of money coming into cryptocurrencies. You have Thanksgiving and Christmas, when a lot of people were just getting into cryptocurrencies and were learning about it from friends and family and everybody that they saw who potentially had interest in cryptocurrencies and maybe made some profits and shared their interest in cryptocurrencies, and maybe those interests rubbed off, and some other people are just waiting on the sidelines until they can have a good amount of capital to get into it. And when people get a few $1,000s back for their tax refunds, that's when they're going to actually have the capital to get into these cryptocurrencies. And when the average everyday person right now only maybe has a couple $100s to put into cryptocurrencies, even around the holidays, I mean, you're getting money, you're spending money, you've got a lot of money moving around in and out of your accounts. So you're probably not going to be putting a lot of your spare funds into cryptocurrencies at the moment. But as soon as you start getting those expendable funds, those funds that you really don't care about, they were taxes to begin with, and a lot of people just use them for vacation funds, and they just blow them to begin with. So there's no reason why a lot of people aren't going to be putting a ton of their money into cryptocurrencies. I'm sure you're going to also see a lot of people taking out loans, second mortgages, everything else as this market starts to boom, because you're going to start to see a lot of these currencies going up 5 and 10 times in the course of just a month. Even as you've seen, Ride has gone up massively. What else has gone up massively? Ripple, Litecoin. Litecoin's kind of drawn back a little bit. IOTA, Icon. A lot of these coins have gone up massively. Even Verge, as I've been talking about for the past couple weeks, has gone up massively. And the reason for this is just because a lot of ignorant money is coming into cryptocurrencies. They don't know what they're investing in, and they're following what a lot of people say. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because it's going to lead me into my next thing that I want to talk about is John McAfee. So yeah, a couple days ago I did talk about how you should probably follow John McAfee because he's getting into cryptocurrencies and he's randomly talking about a coin every day. And essentially what was happening was, as soon as he would say the name of that coin, it doesn't matter if the coin was in a good or bad day, it didn't matter if the market was in a good or bad day, that coin would pretty much blow up exponentially, at least for the first few times that he said anything about it. That's pretty much what led Verge to blow in the first place. I think it was around 1 penny, and apparently the account that said that Verge was going to go to $15, that was the official John McAfee account. It was a fake official John McAfee account. But yesterday, as a lot of people started to heat McAfee about why he's getting all these fake accounts, and he's trying to tell people that only his account's the real one, watch for the blue check mark, all these things. He doesn't have an Instagram, and people were talking about how he's posting coins on his Instagram, but he doesn't have one. But what he also said to a comment was, I saw somebody come out and say something, and he said that it was completely ridiculous for people to, this is what McAfee said, it was completely ridiculous for people to think that Verge would go to $15. And apparently he said it would go to 15 cents. But when somebody came out and said, why didn't you correct this fake tweet or whatever, a week ago when it happened, apparently McAfee came out and said that it just happened a couple hours ago. So if you've been paying attention to anything related to John McAfee or anybody talking about it, you would have known that that happened a week ago. So there's definitely some shady things happening between McAfee. Potentially, maybe he's even making fake accounts. Um, it's really something you're going to want to do with your own due diligence. He apparently also had his account hacked and was posting just a bunch of random coins that were coins of the day. Uh, Yesterday or 2 days ago as well, he also posted that he was not going to be doing a coin of the day anymore because apparently God came to him in his sleep and just said that, this isn't the best idea. You're taking money from all these ignorant people and everything like that, and cryptocurrencies and all these things. If you're really into this space, more or less, you shouldn't be preying on innocent money. So he started to say that he is going to only be doing a coin of the week now or whatever. So he's not going to be doing a daily pump. It's going to be more of a weekly pump. But now you probably had a lot of people who wanted to enjoy this pump potentially. So they're making all these fake McAfee accounts, just saying random coins are getting pumped. Honestly, I would not get involved in this at all. If he mentions a coin you have, it might be your best interest to take an advantage of the profit if you do see a profit, because essentially after that, these coins have been dropping dramatically. And I've seen a lot of people saying that he has been taking some payments for mentioning these coins. So he has been making a little bit of money, as well as he's probably been pre-investing in these coins before he's even mentioning them. So he might, if you're decently wealthy, he sold. He was at one time worth $100 million, and you get into situations in life. Obviously, he's gotten into some situations, so I'm sure his funds have diminished greatly. He's still decently wealthy, I'm sure, in the millions. But if he buys, 20, 30, 40,000, $100,000 even in a currency and pumps it up 20%, he's making potentially $20,000 right there by pumping this up, as well as taking the bribes from whatever coin he is pumping up from the developers, or potentially even just random people who are saying pump up this coin, and he's accepting payments from them just because they are heavily invested in it. I'm not sure how it's working, but if you are going to invest in something he is saying, any of these coins of the week or something in that sort, I would pretty much set his notifications to alert you instantly. I would immediately buy the coin and probably within an hour sell it at the highest profit you can get, because these coins have been pumping and dumping massively as he's been mentioning them. And a lot of people who are longtime believers in these coins are potentially getting left holding coins that might not recover as quickly as they expected just because of this. So, do your due diligence. If you are investing in something, don't just do it because he's saying it. I know I told you guys earlier that it might be a good way to make some profit, but you have so many fake accounts coming on here. He's probably getting some heat from lawyers and stuff like that, and that's why he's really cutting it back to a coin a week. And I'm sure he's getting just more eyes on him than he really wants in the long term, especially somebody that was looked at as a murder suspect. And I'm sure he just probably wants to get away from having just more promotion of himself than what he wants. So just trade wisely with anything he says, more or less. That's going to take me to the last bit of news that I've got for today, and that is that the Massachusetts securities regulator says that Bitcoin has failed its small test, pretty much to label it as a security, or that they think that Bitcoin is more of a speculative bubble, and they have people that they think are just buying into it because everybody's buying into it, and everybody thinks that their wealth is going to grow. I mean, you can't really argue with that in the long term, because a lot of people are getting into Bitcoin because it is growing fast, and a lot of people, have that instant gratification that they want, and they're investing in this because they saw it go up 10 times this year. Any other investments, more or less, that you make aren't going to multiply 1,000% in a year. But you might get small gains on the stock market. You might get 20, 30% in a year. And a lot of people, as times change, you have that instant gratification. It grows more and more. And that's pretty much what today's world revolves around. So people right now, they're investing and they want the biggest bang for their buck, and that's why you see these markets moving so violently at the moment. You have coins that, just because some coins are down 10 and 15%, you have other coins that are going up 20 and 30%, and they're continuing to rise because people that are seeing their coins in the minus 10 and 15% for their portfolio for the day, they're freaking out. They're selling their coins, even though their coins are up still 70-80% for the entire week. They're freaking out because it's down 10%, and they're selling their coins. A lot of them are buying just into whatever green coin they can see because they think it's going up. Just like you have a lot of these coins that are hitting their high peaks and dropping down. Like I talked about, one of the coins that had big gains in the last week was Icon, and it went up to, I think it was over $7, and it dropped down a decent amount. It's sitting, I think, at maybe less than $5 or maybe a little bit more than $5 at the moment. But if you were one of those people that just saw it going up and up and up, and you thought, hey, this is going to keep going maybe to $10 or whatnot, and you bought in at $6.50, $7, and then it just started going down, you might have sold some of your coins that, were only down 10 or 15%, but now they're going back up, or they're about to go back up at the beginning of the year, because you have so much of this big investor money on the sidelines waiting to come in. So for this last week of the year, more or less, unless you really have some fiat cash capital that you're willing to put into the market to buy into cryptocurrencies, I would really hold off on selling any of your cryptocurrencies if you're at the bottom of a dip at the moment, because a lot of these are just going to see a dip. You're going to see a lot of people who have big money start to buy these in small amounts, and then these coins are going to explode at the beginning of next year. And you're going to wish that you held on to these coins, which are going to be taking 2, 3, and 4 times gains. And those are going to be just small end coins that you wouldn't even expect to do that. You're going to have bigger coins that are doing 5 and 10 times gains, and you're going to have other coins that are growing even more than that, depending on if you get into them at an ICO stage. So more or less, what this is a Massachusetts security regulator just said that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are a speculative bubble. And they think that this is all just going to die down. They think that this is going to fall apart, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money over time. They say that ICOs definitely qualify as securities. A lot of people, when they invest in it, more or less, they're investing because they're promised a return or something more in return when they invest into it. So they have all these high hopes investing in these ICOs that they're going to be making 5 and 10 times their money. And an ICO doesn't necessarily have to provide you with anything. And that's kind of what would get it put it on. It would put it under the securities guideline. So that's why you have a lot of these ICOs, as they are in their ICO stage, they cannot take participants from certain areas of the world, like the United States, from China, places like that. I'm not sure which other ones are regulated, but essentially they can't take those people because it's very highly regulated where those people are located, and essentially they are selling securities. So they just want to stay out of any hot water they could potentially have in the long run. And, as things like this start to come out, you're going to have people who aren't really, as I talk about them being ignorant people that are in cryptocurrencies, kind of that new money that comes in. They're not knowing of what cryptocurrencies are, the news, or anything that goes on. As you've seen things like this before, you always have a regulator. Now, it even says in this article, this is the first comment that William Galvin, who is the Secretary of Commonwealth, apparently, or whatever, for Massachusetts, this is the first comment he's even made about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency markets ever. So you always want to take everything you see with a grain of salt. But you have everyday people who are getting into this space, and they're seeing this and they're going, oh, wow, they've got government's going to crack down on cryptocurrencies real soon. And that's not what's going to happen. Essentially, the government is not really trying to put any laws in order, at least for the most part where I'm at, to stop cryptocurrencies. They want to tax you, and they want to at least make a little bit from what you're making on cryptocurrencies. But for now, they're just going to let the cryptocurrency train run, potentially till it starts going up and up and up, and then they're going to tax you more. Or maybe they'll start to try to outlaw them or ban them, or even implement their own cryptocurrencies in the long run. So who knows what's going to happen. But if you are investing in cryptocurrencies, just make sure that you are investing wisely. You're not selling at a low point, because even if you think that there is a great entry point in another cryptocurrency, because it is even down maybe 5 or 10 or 20%, and your cryptocurrency is down only 5 or 10%, your cryptocurrency still might go up 5 or 10 times within the next couple months, as well as that one. But you're really taking a gamble. So if you really want to jump into another currency, potentially only liquidate part of your holdings in whatever currencies you're in that you want to sell, and just get into it for a little bit. Or if you are investing in a coin and it goes up, potentially only pull out what you invested into it initially. So if I invested in Bitcoin at $10,000 and I invested $10,000 in Bitcoin, we'll say to make it easy, and now it's up to $14,000, I would pull out the $4,000 profit, and I would just leave my $10,000 in Bitcoin, or I could pull out the $10,000 I had in Bitcoin and just keep my $4,000 profit still in Bitcoin, and then move my $10,000 I initially invested into something else. Either way you want to trade it. If you want to trade by pulling out your profits and moving those into a new currency, or pulling out your initial investment, which would have been the 10,000, and moving it into a new currency, it's always wiser to do that than it is to completely liquidate your whole holdings in that coin, because potentially, you might have had 5 Litecoin at one point, and Litecoin, if you bought it at the beginning of this year, it was in $4 range. So yeah, if you held Litecoin, you might have seen all these other coins going up exponentially, but you were just standing there holding your Litecoin, watching it slowly grow, and you really wanted to get on Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum. So you sold all of your Litecoin to get into Ethereum when Ethereum was around $100 and your Litecoin was around $60, $70. Well, still that wouldn't really work because, well, Litecoin did go up to $350, but maybe you sold your Litecoin around like $25. So you still made a good amount of profit off of it if you bought it around $5 or $6, but you could have held it for a long time and made a lot better of a profit instead of trading to Ethereum. So definitely something to think about in the long run. If you guys are into day trading and things like that, this might not be the best time to do it. You have a lot of volatility in the markets, especially due to that South Korea news. But I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this year, as well as everybody else more or less that's in this space, definitely thinks this space is going to blow up. And I see no reason why it wouldn't. There's really no negative forces pushing on this space that is going to cause any sort of friction in it, for the moment at least. So I think cryptocurrencies, I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything that is in cryptocurrency space, I think it has a huge year ahead of it. And I think that if you are not in cryptocurrencies yet, that this is the time to get into it. This is probably your last chance that you're ever going to see these coins at this low of a price. And I mean, we might see a couple small dips throughout the throughout next year, more or less. You're still going to see profit taking and things like that, but unless you're acting really fast and you have your orders more or less already set to just go as soon as the price dips down there, you're probably not going to be able to take advantage of these price dips. So if you are looking to get into cryptocurrency, even if it's just a small amount until potentially you're getting your tax return or whatever else is going on, maybe some future money you're looking forward to, maybe this is your time to take a step into it. Or if you're not even investing funds into it, maybe start to invest just some of your mental abilities into it. Just start reading up on cryptocurrencies and see what they're about. See what this whole space has to offer. All of these cryptocurrencies, essentially, they had to offer themselves in an ICO or they were airdropped. So more or less, most of these cryptocurrencies came out in an ICO, and there were people that initially invested in them to begin with, or they wouldn't be here. So most of these, a lot of these are scam coins that have nothing behind them, but most of these coins, a lot of these coins do kind of have somewhat of an idea behind them, even if the idea isn't fully thought through or the development team kind of just gave up on the idea in general or whatnot. There's still an idea behind them, and a lot of these cryptocurrencies are going to be kind of like the foot in the door cryptocurrency. Now, they might not be the cryptocurrency that stays long term if their development isn't up to par with everything else that's going on. But you might have other cryptocurrencies and great development teams and some high quality things coming into cryptocurrency this year that are going to be following in the footsteps of these already made cryptocurrencies. Something that I am very big of in cryptocurrencies is virtual reality and augmented reality and things like that. And you're going to see that space grow massively because it's just a massive growing space. You have videos that are being shot in 3D, pretty much virtual reality, where you can look anywhere and you can see it. You have sports that are going to be broadcast in 3D. You already have the NBA. I think if you have PlayStation 4, I think that's the only thing you could do it on, potentially a computer, but I do have a PS4 and I have the virtual reality for that, and you can sign up for an NBA League Pass through your PS4's virtual reality thing or whatnot, and you can watch these games from courtside, I think it is. So this is going to definitely grow. There's a lot of people, I mean, why would you pay $5,000 for courtside seats if you could just put on the headset and literally be sitting courtside? You can look to your side and see, maybe somebody else sitting there, or somebody that's really at the game next to the camera that they're using, or just you'll see whatever else is there. You could turn around and see people in the audience. You could watch the players like from point blank. It's amazing. If you haven't used a virtual reality headset or anything of the sort yet, it's definitely something cool to look into. I've been wanting to make a virtual reality cryptocurrency video. I haven't really got into it. I just always get sidetracked by ICOs and random things and news that I always just get carried off in. But hopefully, as this space grows, as the next year grows and all that, hopefully I get time to get into it. But that's all I've really got for you guys today. I'm going to leave you with that. And pretty much have a great day, and hopefully I'm back to make a video tomorrow. If not, I'll probably be back Saturday at least to release an ICO review about something. So trade wisely, guys. This is the last week of the year. It's going to be a volatile week, and then we should see just a massive influx of money coming into this space within the first 2 weeks, I think, of January. So don't fret if you are really seeing the red in your blockfolio right now, because it is going to be going green real quickly. Hold, guys, HODL, whatever you want to call it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.